At least 4 people are dead and 90 others are trapped underground after carbon monoxide levels exceeded limits in a coal mine in northeast China on Friday night, according to state media. Rescue efforts are continuing at the Liusheu coal mine in Changji City, Xinhua News reported. The accident happened at 9:43 p.m. local time, 9:43 a.m. ET, when 247 workers were underground.
Mahmoud Khalil, who has been targeted for deportation by the administration of US President Donald Trump over his pro-Palestine advocacy, will appeal his case to the Supreme Court, according to his lawyers. The announcement on Friday came after a federal appeals court, in a 6-5 decision, declined to rehear Khalil's case challenging his immigration detention. Blue Origin's new mega-rocket New Glenn is no longer grounded. The company said Friday that the Federal Aviation Administration has cleared the rocket to fly again after the upper stage failed to deliver a commercial payload during an April launch. Blue Origin didn't offer much detail, but said in a post on X that the New Glenn upper stage experienced an off-nominal thermal condition that caused one of the 3 rocket engines to produce lower than expected thrust. As a result, the Asti space mobile satellite that Blue Origin was supposed to put into orbit instead burned up in Earth's atmosphere instead. Asti Space Mobile said it had insurance coverage that covered the cost of the lost satellite. Jeff Bezos' spaceflight company submitted a report to the FAA and took corrective measures, but did not detail what those measures were.
Google has officially announced Wear OS 7 at Google I/O 2026. The new smartwatch platform is based on Android 17 and focuses on better battery efficiency, Gemini AI integration, and a redesigned way to show home screen information. The Wear OS 7 Canary emulator is available for developers now. The update will arrive on real smartwatches later this year.
See Microsoft and Playground Games' Forza Horizon 6 has crossed more than 6 million players launch within 1 week of its early access launch. The open-world racing game entered early access on May 15 for Premium Edition O-Tuners and launched fully on May 19 for Standard Edition buyers and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate users. Playground Games confirmed the 6 million player milestone shortly after the full launch.
A US judge has dismissed the criminal case against Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was wrongfully deported to a mega-prison in El Salvador last year. Abrego Garcia, whose deportation became a major flashpoint administration's immigration agenda, returned to the US in June after the government admitted it had wrongfully sent him back to his native country.
A calendar featuring close-ups of young, handsome men in priestly attire has been a perennial Rome souvenir for the last 2 decades, but few, it seems, are actually men of the cloth. Giovanni Galizia has been the cover shot for the so-called sexy priest calendar for many of the last 23 editions. In the same photo, used year after year, Galizia wears a clerical collar and flashes an enigmatic smile worthy of the Mona Lisa against the granite wall of a church in his native Palermo.
As Israel keeps up its attacks on Lebanon, despite a ceasefire, the United States has sanctioned 9 people, including 2 Lebanese military officers, accused of links to Hezbollah. It comes while Washington brokers more talks between Lebanese and Israeli officials. We hear how San Diego's Muslim community is grieving, supporting one another, and trying to move forward after an attack that shattered their sense of safety. How does a community begin healing after unimaginable loss? In this episode,
Santa Cruz, Bolivia. A spiraling political conflict is threatening social stability in Bolivia. Just 6 months after the new administration took office, President Rodrigo Paz is facing a wave of demonstrations, highway blockades, and growing calls for his resignation.
A United States judge has dismissed an indictment against Kilmar Abrego Garcia after finding that he would not have been prosecuted if he had not challenged his deportation. On Friday, US District Judge Waverly Crenshaw said the Department of Justice only reopened its human smuggling probe stemming from a 2022 traffic stop after Salvadoran national Abrego Garcia filed his lawsuit. Last month, Scott Stevenson, co-founder and CEO of the legal AI startup Spellbook, took to X in an effort to expose what he called a huge scam among AI startups: inflation of the revenue figures that they announce publicly. The reason many AI startups are crushing revenue records is because they are using a dishonest metric. The biggest funds in the world are supporting this and misleading journalists for PR coverage, he wrote in his tweet.
So bad it's good. Google on Friday joined in the disco ball icon fun taking place on home screens everywhere after Spotify's temporary new disco ball app icon, released to celebrate the company's 20th anniversary, drew extensive online backlash and a bit of praise for those who like a little kitsch. Google decided to get in on the joke and rolled out a custom set of Android app icons sporting a similar disco ball theme. On X, Android ecosystem head Samir Samat posted, "Your wish is our command. Disco icons available on Pixel as of today. Are you all sure you still want this?"
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says Alberta is at the centre of his plans for the country's economy, hours after the province announced that it will vote later this year on whether to hold a referendum on separating from Canada. Speaking to reporters on Friday, the federal government and various provinces and territories repeatedly stressing the importance of Alberta.
Pakistan's army chief, Field Marshal Azim Munir, is in Iran as part of ongoing mediation efforts to end Israel and the United States' war that began on February 28th. Munir arrived in Tehran on Friday, Iran's state-run IRNA news agency reported, citing the Pakistan army.
Slovenia's parliament has voted to bring back right-wing politician Janez Janša as prime minister after his last stint in power ended in 2022. Legislators in the 90-member assembly voted 51-36 for Janša on Friday, marking a shift for the small European Union country recently run by a liberal government.
Xiaomi has launched its first clip-on earbuds at a recent hardware event in China. The earbuds are priced at around $124. A limited launch discount lowers the price to about $117. The new Xiaomi earbuds use an open ear design and clip onto the side of the ear instead of sitting inside the ear canal.
Federal Constitutional Court has issued a landmark judgment aimed at strengthening transparency and protecting the rights of government employees across Pakistan. The court directed all government departments and autonomous bodies to publish updated seniority lists on their official websites every year, ensuring public access and administrative transparency.
Xiaomi has announced the Smart Band 10 Pro during its latest ecosystem event in China. The new fitness tracker brings a brighter display, closer integration with Apple devices, and a dedicated gaming mode.
Tulsi Gabbard will resign from her position as the US Director of National Intelligence in the Trump administration, citing her husband's recent bone cancer diagnosis. "His strength and love have sustained me through every challenge," she wrote in her resignation letter obtained by CBS News, the BBC's US partner. "I cannot in good conscience ask him to face this fight alone while I continue in this demanding and time-consuming position."
Russian President Vladimir Putin has promised retaliation after accusing Ukraine of carrying out a deadly attack on a student dormitory in an occupied part of eastern Ukraine. He said 6 people were killed and 39 injured after the overnight drone strike in the town of Starobilsk, Luhansk region. Another 15 people were missing.
Due to an Ebola outbreak in their country, members of the Democratic Republic of Congo's national football team must isolate before entering the US for the World Cup. Andrew Giuliani, executive director of the White House Task Force for the World Cup, confirmed on Friday that the Congolese delegation must maintain a bubble where they currently are training in Belgium and isolate for 21 days or risk being denied entry. Trump administration has said foreign nationals who enter the US on temporary visas should return to their home countries if they want to apply for permanent residency, arguing that the move is aimed at reinforcing the existing legal immigration system. Officials said the policy is intended to ensure green card applications follow standard immigration procedures rather than allowing people to remain in the US while seeking permanent status through what the administration describes as loopholes in the system.
Whenever a low, bumblebee-like thrum cuts through the quiet of Sandra Montoya's home near Tibu, in Colombia's Catatumbo region, the sound stiffens her body. She instinctively reaches for her young son. The noise always emerges from a small mountain behind her home, part of a tree-quilted landscape stitched with winding rivers along Colombia's border with Venezuela.
Pep Guardiola is more than a football manager, using his high-profile platform to highlight causes close to his heart. Legendary Liverpool manager Bill Shankly may have believed football was much more important than life or death. But for Guardiola, several things outside the beautiful game matter almost as much.
PTI's Islamabad wing held a protest in the federal capital on Friday, despite Section 144 being in place, which restricts public gatherings. It is worth mentioning that Tehreek Tahafuz-i Pakistan, TTAP, and PTI had given a call to hold countrywide protests against former Prime Minister Imran Khan's imprisonment, rising inflation and other issues on Friday.
Lahore. Actor and model Momina Iqbal on Friday filed an application with Chung police for the registration of a first information report against the PML's PA Saqib Chadha, levelling serious allegations of blackmail, harassment and death threats. In her application, she alleged that the PMLN MPA had been making threatening calls to harass her and her fiancé.
The government reduced the price of petrol by Rs 6 per litre and that of high-speed diesel by 668 on Friday. Following the decrease, the price of petrol stands at 403.78 per litre and HSDs at 402.78.
Organisers of a Gaza-bound aid flotilla say freed foreign activists who were abducted from international waters faced abuse while in Israeli detention, including at least 15 reporting incidents of sexual assault or rape. The global Sumud flotilla organisers added in a statement on Telegram on Friday that several activists were hospitalised with injuries, a day after hundreds were deported from Israel. Tulsi Gabbard is resigning from her job as United States President Donald Trump's Director of National Intelligence, according to her resignation letter posted on her X account. In her resignation letter, Gabbard told Trump she was deeply grateful for the trust you placed in me and for the opportunity to lead the office of the Director of National Intelligence for the last year and a half.